Hey everybody, welcome to episode 53 of the Joys of Games podcast. We are back after a brief hiatus. Sickness, plague, death. It prevented us from recording the last, couple weeks or so. But here we are, Wednesday, March 29th, 2017. Back at it once again. This is the week of Nintendo. Scratch that. This is the week of Zelda.
The month?
We are talking about Zelda Breath of the Wild. The entire show. Sit down, brace yourselves, enjoy the ride. I am one of your hosts, Josh Brown. I am joined by the man who just awoke from another shrine, Colin Wheeler.
Yeah, I woke from the awful weather that we're having, and the reason why I didn't record last week was because it went from raining to sunshine, and there's pollen in the air, and my head felt like it was going to blow up.
Sure.
And then I lost my voice immediately, and then after that happened, then it started raining again.
Are we talking about real life or Zelda? I don't even know.
You can determine it however you'd like.
Sure. Regardless, I'm glad that the Resurrection Tower was able to bring you back, and you can start fresh all over again.
You guys are funny.
Definitely back because of Mipha's grace, so that's good. That's good.
Unfortunately, now there's a little warm-up time, so you're going to have to be careful, tread lightly. Don't want to, run into something horrific and take you down a peg, but it's going to be a fun show, Colin. Most importantly, for one reason and one reason only. Valerie Striplin is joining us on the podcast tonight. Hi, Val.
That's the one reason?
That's the main reason why it's going to be an awesome podcast.
Definitely. This is exciting, Val, because we've been trying to get you to play Ocarina for
2 years.
Basically since I've known you.
2 years. It's been 2 years.
It excites me that you're excited about Zelda.
Yeah. We're going to talk all about Ocarina of Time tonight.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well.
I'm out.
Starting with Jabba's
minute,
belly.
Jabu.
Jabu.
Stupid fish.
Val, we brought you on this podcast basically because if we didn't have you on this podcast,
I would have thrown a fit.
I would be sleeping on Colin's couch right now.
You might not even get that.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Dang.
Wow. You insisted that you are on this show.
Absolutely.
Because you need to talk about Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
I feel like Colin and I might just step back for about an hour or so and just let you get out everything that you need to get out about this game because you have some things to say. It's going to be a fun show, though.
I hope so. And I hope that I say everything I need to say in the right way.
Eloquently. Family friendly, of course.
Family friendly.
As much as we possibly can.
I thought I spoke pretty family friendly before.
If we're not going to talk about an old game like we normally do. We're not going to talk about any news.
I'll talk a little bit about an old game.
No, we don't want to do that. All
No.
we want to talk
I just
about
need to
is Zelda.
Compare some stuff.
We have no show notes because all we're coming to do on this show
there's no show notes?
is talk about Zelda Breath of the Wild.
That's flipping fantastic.
Because honestly, between the three of us, we have played so much Zelda. It's disgusting.
Mostly you guys.
I don't know. You're what?
Are you talking
over
about your
50
life
hours now?
accumulation of Zelda or
This game specifically?
This game specifically.
You are over 50 hours.
Am I? I haven't checked.
Yeah.
Dang, dude.
So we have a lot to say. Is
Who
what
am
I'm
I
trying to get
even?
to. Colin's hitting me up in the chat here.
Uh-oh, did he get disconnected from the call?
I don't know.
No.
I'm about to
He's
fall
still
off
there.
the side of
Okay.
the mountain, so I'm just going to let that just happen
Naturally.
naturally.
He's saying there might be an email. We will see. I have not seen one come in yet, Colin.
Okay.
If one comes in before the end of the show, I'll let you know. So where do we start? We all got Zelda day one.
Yep.
On our collective Switches.
Right. Which, okay, to be totally...
Start here.
Okay, here, I'm just going to go.
Go.
To be totally honest with you, I wasn't that excited. I was excited to get a Switch, and my first initial thought was, Josh is buying me a Switch, and I love him so much, I'm not going to play it, and I feel guilty about not caring about the Switch that's coming out, because he's so psyched about it. And you got me Zelda, and I was like, I'm also probably not going to play that, because I'm so upset with Ocarina of Time.
You want to switch?
I wanted to
for
switch
for
the potential of Animal Crossing and Disney Magical World, because eventually Colin has promised those things will come to me, right? So
Animal Crossing for sure. Disney,
but here's the
so
thing:
much.
I didn't need. Shut your mouth, Colin. I didn't need a Switch the day that it came out, because those games are on the horizon that I can't see yet.
Sure.
They're just past that. What is that? You can see up to 3 miles in the horizon. So they're at like 4. They're at mile mark 4. So for me, it wasn't as important or as exciting at first, right? I was just like, this thing is cool. You had us play some of the, I was going to say demo games, but they're actual games.
Well,
you had us
$50 demo games.
You had me playing the games. Like, you were so excited. You, midnight release, you went and got yours.
Yeah.
You told me mine was in the mail the next day. I was going to get it. And I was kind of bummed because I wanted that rush of midnight release. But at the same time, I was just kind of like, why am I so upset? Because in my head, for some reason, hear me out. When the Switch was coming out, the way that it looked, and even though I'd seen the commercials and stuff, it looked like a Kindle tablet, like one of our kids has, with slide-on remote control handles. So in my head, I could do more than just play games on it. I could internet on it. I could... oh, it's locked. Okay. I was going to say, will you lock the front door? Because you know how I get nervous about that. Anyways, in my head, I could do more things on it like I can do on my DS. Like on my DS, I can watch YouTube. I can, internet if I want. I don't do those things, but it's possible.
You like the option.
It's available. So in my head, that's what I was thinking. So I was like, okay, so if I get this, I'll probably play with all the other extra stuff on it. I'm not going to play Zelda. You got it for me without asking.
No.
If I wanted it, you just handled the business.
I said, here, you need this.
Right. And you had all these other games. You're like, we can share these because they're, it doesn't matter. And
We don't need 2 copies of
we don't
Bomberman.
need 2 copies. We don't, 1-2 Switch. We don't need 2 copies of that. So, but Zelda, you were like, we need 2 copies of. I got you your own copy. I was super grateful. At the same time, I was doing this. This dude is just wasted money. He's just throwing money away, right?
Yeah.
And
I knew there was a potential for that.
The first week that we had him, I started playing, but it was doing that thing where you're meeting with an old man and you have to finish these first couple of, we didn't do pew, 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 spoilers. We're doing Josh Laney spoiler alerts right now. I don't even know if Josh Laney is still alive. We're doing Josh Laney spoiler alerts because I'm going to talk about some things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And people need to, if they are not okay with it, just don't download. Just don't.
Download.
Go.
Absolutely download.
I'm sorry. Download, but then go
Get to this
Marcus played.
point.
Marcus played.
And then
okay.
wrap it up.
So anyways, in the beginning, you're basically
Don't tell people
learning
not to download.
the mechanics of the game. And, like most games that come out.
Yeah.
Unless it's like something, that's had like
it's a hidden
4 iterations
tutorial.
of or whatever. So yeah, I was kind of not engaged. I was a little bit engaged, but I wasn't like 100% engaged. And I was letting, like, the girls would come at me, Mom, can I play? And I was just like, yeah, go ahead, do
Well, it
whatever.
also starts you with nothing.
It starts you with nothing, but like most games. But I just was kind of like, I didn't care if the girls played because our girls are really into it. Chase is super anti, but like my girls,
Yeah, I got some things to say about that.
Kylie's probably into it too, but like Kaylee and Alexis really like to play this game. And so that first week, I was just kind of like, I'll play a little bit. When you were playing, I would play a little bit. And I don't know what happened. I think, here's what it is. In previous Zelda games, the only other one I've ever played is Ocarina of Time. Side note. If I needed more hearts, I only got a quarter of a chamber at a time. Mm-hmm. And I must have missed the tutorial and the mechanics and how-to of that game because I just could not get into trying to figure out how to unlock more chamber hearts so I could have more lives because I was dying so frequently. And because I was dying so frequently, I could not get engaged because it felt like no matter what I did, I was dying. A Gorgon would roll into me or whatever they were called, dead. Like, and I couldn't avoid them because I couldn't figure out I was doing just button mashing, which is my jam.
And the save points were horrible in Ocarina of Time.
Oh, were they? I don't know.
Because it would take you back so far that you didn't want to do it again.
It was just aggravating all the time. I felt like I was constantly more angry at the game than I was satisfied.
Oh, that's true.
Okay. So,
And this is before she even got to the water temple, folks. Like,
So,
this
Josh,
yeah.
what we should have done is we should have had her play Majora's Mask first, because that one's way easier to understand, right?
Yeah, actually, I mean, in hindsight, like, A Link to the Past is probably, like...
and that's fine. Like, I don't have a problem now going back and playing those games. I would love it even better if they were remastered so I could play them on my Switch.
Ooh, you should play...
For reals.
Skyward Sword.
Okay.
Motion controls.
Okay.
USB.
You're going beyond. So, here's what I think happened with this game, and after that first week, is I completed the first 4 tasks or whatever, and then you get a heart chamber. Is that right? No, you get
you have to exchange it.
You have to exchange for a heart chamber because it's teaching you how to do that, or not a heart chamber, but a something stamina or heart chamber. You have to exchange the 4 orbs, and you also get the
Runes.
no. What is
Oh,
this?
the paraglider.
The paraglider.
Yeah.
So what is this thing called? I just did some acting out charades.
Yeah.
Okay. When that happened, game changer. When I realized that I needed 4 runes or 4 shrines to get the spirit orbs, and then I could cash them in to get more heart chambers or more stamina, game changer for
Give you
me.
a purpose.
For me, because now I know that in order to climb up the side of this mountain, I'm going to need to increase my stamina big time, which means I'm going to need to finish these shrines lickety split to be able to do that. Also, I'm having this thought and inner fight with myself of, yes, I want more stamina, but dang, I need another heart because 4 hearts is just not enough to get anywhere. For me, someone who dies all the time.
Well,
because I'm still
the game
learning the
also
combat.
kills you a lot.
But also, I am a melee combat person in every game because, we'll revisit this, Valerie is terrible at camera control. Terrible! Which means I'm terrible at aiming with long-range weapons. Melee, I got you, because that is just mashing a button and taking someone out, just annihilating. But for some reason, long-range weapons and camera control, this is why I can't play games on like a PS4, except for Fable, but like, even then, I only do melee. I am not good at camera control. People that watch me play a video game will get, like, sick because of my camera control skills. However, with this game, I don't know what is happening. I don't know. I know that the orbs, the spirit orbs, and the paraglider were a game changer for me. Because once that happened, I was instantly super territorial about who played my game. And I was also sinking hours into the game, consecutive hours, like chunks hours. Like, where have you been for 4 hours? Sitting in the same spot on the couch playing this game. I've only gotten up to pee. When's dinner? I don't know. Hours. And I have never had that experience in a game before. Not with Disney Magical World, not with Disney Magical World 2, not with Animal Crossing, not even with Fable. With Fable, I never sunk that many hours into a game. And in these time frames, like, you know, like probably over the course of me ever playing Fable over the years, but never 50 plus hours in a few weeks. Like, that's never happened. And keep in mind, that first week, I wasn't really into it as much as I am now.
Right.
It's unreal.
From what I've seen, observing you play, having the shrine has given you a purpose, because it's not just the basic side quest, like, go fetch this and I'll give you a rupee. Like,
I'm not a fan of the side quests
either. You're okay
either.
with those, but the shrines are your purpose, because you know every 4 you get to cash it in and upgrade yourself.
Right.
So there's this constant reward that you get from finding 4 shrines, completing them, and then getting out to upgrade yourself.
Because this is what happens. This is my order of operations. I get 4 shrines, and if there's another shrine that's really close, I'll go and get that too. But once I hit 4 shrines, I immediately fast travel to a city where I know exactly where the praying goddess is. Not even like for a long time, the first few times I was cashing in, I was only going back to
Kakariko
or Hatno Village.
Yeah.
Had to know. That's it. I would go to those 2 places because I knew exactly how to get, like, turn left at the weird rock. Like, I knew exactly how to get to the prey goddess to be able to cash in my orbs. But now I'm getting more familiar with some of the other towns, and now I'm just kind of like, okay, I remember that the one in the Flying Bird Village is in the wall, so I just keep going down the stairs until I find her. But how it's been playing out for me is at 4 or 5. I think one time I let it go to 6, and I was like, what am I doing? But on the plus side of that, I have this little thing in my mind where I'm like, I'm going to cash in these 4, but I'm just going to have 2, but I only need 2 more to cash in. So that's like, that's like a pat on the back, like past Valerie's looking out for future Valerie kind of situation. But basically, I get the 4, I immediately fast travel, I go and upgrade, and I was doing it on a stamina, heart, but then we got to some divine creatures, and I needed more heart, so then it was like heart.
Then you try to
because I have my
stamina.
second stamina wheel complete, so I mean I'll go for that third one, but like right now I just know that in order to beat Ganon or pull the Master Sword out or whatever it is, like those things I've watched you do, I'm gonna need significantly more hearts, and I think I have 12 right now. So, which to me is huge, because when I played Ocarina of Time, I had 4 1/4 or 4 1/2. You know what I mean? I was getting those in quarter increments, and that is not satisfying for somebody who's constantly dying.
Yeah.
It doesn't help me to be engaged. It makes me aggravated, and my anxiety level sky high to where I just like rage quit.
Sure.
Because I can't get out of the fish's belly because I keep dying carrying the dang princess around.
Yeah. Hold on to that thought. But one of the other things I've noticed about how you're playing is you fell in love with the towers.
Oh,
and
because I was blindly going through all this land, and when I look on my map, I'm like, I can't see anything because I haven't unlocked that region. So in my head, the goal was hit up shrines when you see them, or at least pin them to come back to them. They give you, 5 pins? I constantly have all 5 pins full.
She does.
I don't mess around. Like,
mess.
you were doing other things. It's not a mess, though. To me, it makes perfect sense. Because then on that little wheel in the bottom right-hand corner, I can see, okay, if I continue on this direction doing this other thing, I'm going to eventually hit up this one shrine, and I can double duty it.
Right.
To me, that makes sense because it's giving me double purpose. I'm not just aimlessly walking around going, what do I do next? Where's the path? Like, I'm making my own path.
Right.
So, for me, it was super important to unlock all the lands as quickly as I could. So basically, if there was a shrine that was easily visible from standing on top of a tower, I would mark them all, the ones that I could see straight away. And then my goal was to get to the next tower, and constantly the next tower, because as soon as I got the map unlocked to where I could look at it, then it will be easier for me to fast travel, easier for me to travel, period, and see where I'm going and what's happening and where am I even at, because it shows you that little arrow on the map in what direction you're pointing, and you know you need to go a certain way, but then you can't see anything about the landscape, the topography. And one of the cool things about this map is it kind of shows you the different elevations, so you know you're going to be climbing rocks. You can prepare yourself for, let me build up a bunch of dishes of stamina, or a bunch of dishes or a bunch of potions for, whatever. So it just, it mattered to me to get the map open so I could see what I was doing. Right. And then also, I'll be honest, I have looked up a couple of times, like, have I gotten all the shrines in this little region?
No shame in that.
And then when I see that I haven't, I'm able to know on the map, according to, because I've got it all open now, where I need to go, what area I need to be in.
For you, and I think probably a lot of people, the towers are instant gratification, because you unlock a chunk of the map that allows you to, like you said, to go easily find the shrines and be able to locate them, which is another form of instant gratification, and like it's this constant reward loop. And unlike other games that have like towers that you have to climb to unlock parts of the map, it doesn't just litter your map with like all these icons of like you could go all these different places. It just says, oh, now you can see this part of the map. Go have fun.
Right.
You know, and that is satisfying for you because it's literally taking one piece of the puzzle at a time and putting it in, and it fits every time it does that.
And like when I've looked at your map, because you've got, like, I still have one. I have one area on my map that I haven't gotten open, and that's just because every time I go into that region, I can't see it.
Sure.
Like, I can't see the tower, so I can't make that a goal. Yeah. So I've just been all over the place. But, like, when I look at your map as a whole, and having seen a complete game map with all the points of, like, shrines and leaves and blah, 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 I know that region looks real empty, and there has to be more shrines than the 2 that you have.
Right.
So then I make it a point to hang out in that region and go around. And, like, I have found two shrines that on your game, and then I found one on my game, and then I did them both on your game, but, like, that were not super obvious.
No.
But because I had my shrine locator on, it kept telling me, and it was, like, beeping, and I was losing my mind. And then I was like, that has to be it. That's it. Figured it out, and then just
she
how
just
is
found
it?
some of the hardest to find shrines. It's unbelievable.
I don't know that they're hardest to find for everybody else, but you didn't know them. You didn't see them.
Colin, you know the one that's buried in the ice that you have to take a river
under the rock.
into?
There's several.
Yeah. Like I don't know how, like she
I found the one in the side of the cliff that's like got. No, I won't, because my thing won't stop beeping, which means it's there, and I need to figure it out. So, and it's priority numero 1. And now that I know, because it's a harder one to find, when you run right in, you immediately are rewarded with a trophy and an orb. Heck yeah, I'm gonna make that my mission.
Val, can I give you a piece of advice?
What?
Use the Wolf Link amiibo.
Oh, okay.
He'll take you to the shrine. If the shrine is going off and you follow him, he'll take you to the shrine.
Oh, okay.
No, he'll do it.
Yeah. I just, you know what? I don't have him. I do sometimes remember to transport him in all the time, but not always. And it's kind of fun for me to hear that bleep, 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 bleep.
Yeah,
bleep.
you'll still hear that. He'll just
I know, but
her,
like
so.
for my own self to kind of like track it down.
I wanted to go back to like what you were talking about, how the map and how they don't just like litter it with junk. I really like that you can study the map and basically look at it and be like, oh, that's really weird. Why is that coast in a giant circle? Or what's this giant box that looks like a labyrinth way out in the distance?
Right.
That looks super sketch.
Yeah, that's a skull right there. That's weird.
It's really smartly done. Like for the more obvious stuff, you're like, that's really odd. Why are all these little black dots? And then you get there and it's like a town. You're like, of course it's a town. Now that I see it, it's a town. I just really like that it doesn't really hold your hand in telling you where to go. You can just look at the map and study it and be like, oh, this is really different. And then Val was saying, there's an area that's completely open with no shrines, so there's got to be something there. And I've come to situations where there are areas where there's like no shrines, but there's tons of Karoks and there's tons of like other hidden stuff.
There has to be something because it's way too naked.
Right.
It's way too naked. But in that, I have found a lot of treasure chests randomly.
Yeah.
Like in that, and you're right about the Karoks seeds. So even though it may not have a shrine, it's going to have something.
Yeah, there's always something that you get rewarded for just by exploring, which is really odd to me because like other open world games that I've played, like Skyrim, or like Fallout, like you go to these areas and there's just junk. Like there's nothing. Half the time there's nothing that even benefits you.
Fill it.
Yeah, it's just there's no reason for that to exist. Versus like Zelda's constantly rewarding you for just exploring with, like I said, treasure chests, Karok seeds, weapons from camps. Like if you kill all the goblins, there's a really cool weapon inside, or a piece of armor that might be hidden. Like it's really, really amazing how much they've packed into it. For like when you do look at the map, it looks, and you look around, it just looks empty. But there's so many secrets. It's amazing.
Go ahead.
Everything that's in that world, at first glance, it may not seem like it, but it always feels like everything is meticulously put in a position for a reason. Like,
yeah,
there's one part where I'm just like, why is this rusty shield sitting in the middle of this field? Right? Like, this is the weirdest place. I know I didn't drop it here. I know Bokoblin didn't drop it here because there's nobody
There's been
around.
a red mood.
There's just this random rusty shield sitting here. So I'm like, okay, this has to be for something. And I pick it up and I start wandering around, and it takes me like 10 minutes. But then I find one of like the little shrine things that you would normally put apples on, that, you know, and a Korok will pop out. But instead, on the 3 pedestals, 2 of them have rusty shields on them. And I'm like, oh, so if I put this other rusty shield that I just found like 10 minutes away on this pedestal, then this Korok's going to pop out. And sure enough, that's what it was. And it's like, that explains why this rusty shield was just sitting out in the middle of a field for no reason. Because there's absolutely a reason for it to be there. Because you're never going to remember where you find a rusty shield from, you know, but it's there for a reason, you know?
Or like the rocks that are like little circles in the water, and you're like, okay, well, there's something down there, right? So you jump, and then it's like, ha ha ha, you found me. And I was like, of course I did.
Throwing rocks in from like there's this one bridge that you have
I figured that one out.
There's like 2 or 3 just rocks sitting on a bridge, and you're like, why is this?
No, there was 5. There was 5 rocks. There was 2 groups, one with 3, one with 2.
Sure.
And then if you look down into the river, there was a circle. And I said, that seems really strange. I bet you have to throw the rocks in there. And then when we were trying it, we're like, you can't throw them in from that. That trajectory is not, it's off. And then you figured out the rest of it. But yeah.
But there would be no reason for there to be rocks on a bridge, on this particular bridge, because it was like a wooden bridge. It's like, nope, there's a reason for it, and you know, there's a reward for it.
Yeah, did you guys do any of the box puzzle ones where you have to use the magnet and like basically make them symmetrical? I thought that was really fun too.
Val found I've walked past so many of those until I was watching Val play, and she found one. She was like, "What's this?" I'm like, "I don't know, but that's really weird. That's on the side of a mountain." And she's like, "Well, they're metal," and she pulled out the magnet and moved around. Like, that's really smart, and I feel really dumb.
You said, I didn't even know that was a puzzle.
No, because I've walked past so many of those without even thinking about it.
Yeah, and it's the moment that you figure it out. Like, it took me forever to figure out the Apple Shrine thing, and like the first time that I played through it on the first Switch that we bought, like I passed those over and over and over again, and then finally I was like, you know what? Why is that one always empty? And you drop it in and it's just a face palm where you're like, oh.
I would just steal the apples.
I passed hundreds of those things.
See, I was stealing the apples, and Josh was like, just try putting an apple in that one barren spot.
Be a giver, not a taker.
Right.
That's always the funny thing, too, is like you drop the apples, and you're like, nope, I'm taking them all. You get the Korok, you're like, nope, those are mine now.
Yeah, that's what I do. And every time I run back there and I see the Korok sitting out, I'll grab all the apples that are sitting there. I don't care.
One of
mine now.
The craziest Koroks that I found, and it was actually early in the game, was when you walk into Kakariko Village, and you look up, and there's a sign, and there's an arrow just stuck in the sign.
I tried to climb that to get the arrow.
And I'm like, why is there an arrow stuck in the sign? I'm like, I'm going to shoot it. And then they popped out. I'm like, what? Who designs a game and puts an arrow in a sign?
Okay, I didn't know that a Korok would pop out.
Yeah.
But I tried to climb that so many times to try and get the arrows. Yeah. Because they were shiny, and I was like, I need arrows really
you can get
bad.
Most of the arrows. There's one that you can't get, though.
You can't get it from... You can't climb up to it, either.
No, you can climb up to it.
No, I've tried... Josh, you cannot.
Colin?
You can climb up to the top part and then just press let down, and you can hang, and you can grab it.
Oh.
Yeah.
God,
like, there's no way to, like, you know, there's nothing to step on, but you can do the drop down and then grab it.
I'm so angry.
Well, you were probably doing it before you had stamina that you could climb up.
Yeah,
to the side.
I couldn't.
Yeah. Now I bet you could with all your stamina that you got.
Yeah, but now I'm just going to shoot it. Like, what? I don't need the freaking arrow. I know how to get some of those.
Colin, what do you think of the game? You like it? It's okay.
Yeah,
right?
it's pretty. I don't know. I feel like the what is those CDI games were a lot better than.
I am obsessed with it. Obsessed. Okay, real quick, I almost tweeted this, but I was driving, and I didn't feel comfortable doing it, and I should have pulled over. I saw a red thing hanging from a tree today, and my first thought was, I wonder if that's an apple.
I'm going to grab that.
I seriously was like, in my head, I heard the noise when you jump and grab an apple. But, just to continue with that was just today's event. there have been many nights where I have woken up the next morning and had multiple, if not one, dream of this game, whether I'm in it or I realize how to do something and then I want to play to go finish it. Or I did have one, it's not inappropriate dream where like Link was in love with me situation, but
you were Zora.
But I was in the game, essentially, and I was interacting with the other characters in the game, the NPCs and Link. Like, I am into this game so much so that, like, I will drop in a conversation just a little piece, a little nugget, and somebody will start talking about it, and I'll just get so giddy and so excited that, like, then it's you know, like, how much do I want to mouth vomit right now about this game?
Well, we went to the beach this weekend.
Yeah.
We were at Seaside and we were walking across a bridge, and like there's the river that goes kind of through Seaside, and like I just like looked over at Val. I'm like, you think there's a treasure chest in there? And she's like, oh my god, yeah.
Every time there's like a grassy area with a little bit of water, we're like, I wonder if there's a treasure chest in there. It's so silly. I have such a crush on this game, and there's so many reasons, like but it's very beautiful. There are some things that I'm just not a fan of. Like, I will never be a person that can beat the Divine Beasts without your help.
Yeah, that's okay though.
Like, I could never play this game and do those because my anxiety gets so. I get to the point where I die like 9 times in a row that the only thing I can think of is to have like a full on meltdown.
That's hilarious because Sharon's the exact same way. I was actually texting Josh. I was like, "Hold on, I can't podcast. I got to beat a boss for Sharon." And he's like, "Of course you do."
I can't. It's bad. So what will happen now is I get to the point. Well, like, I'll do what I need to do, and then if I can't get it done, I'll give it to Josh. Like the major tests of strength. For some reason, I cannot defeat those stupid things.
They're not easy. I think those are actually harder than some of the Divine Beast bosses. Like, not in the sense of like they're harder to understand how to kill. They just take forever. Yeah. Like,
and that's where I lose my patience, because at that point I'm so frustrated with how, like, I'll see that I'm making a dent in its XP. But, like, I never get it all the way. So then Josh, there's been more times where I just hand off my, and we've done that where I give him his Switch or my Switch and he gives me the controller to his because he'll be playing on the TV. And then I'll just run around in his world, picking up things, finding treasure chests, doing shrines for him real quick, ones that he didn't know, existed. Or I'll be like, you never got this shrine? I got this shrine. I'll go do this shrine for you really quick. I can handle this one. There are times where, like, I accidentally get, like, a major test of strength when I'm in his world and he's currently playing mine, trying to defeat a Divine Beast, and he's trying to watch me try and do this major test of strength and gets so angry because I'm dying so many times, or I'm not getting it. And so then he's got both the switches and
playing 2 switches at one time.
Playing 2 switches.
That's why there's 2 Joy-Cons.
But honestly, like, the kids keep asking if they can play. I'm like, no, don't touch it, because I'm currently in the middle of trying to do something and I don't need you to mess it up. Like, it's so good, though.
The biggest thing with this game, and I think this is why Valerie has fallen in love with it, and I think why it's kind of captivated anybody that comes near it is a hard game. It's a very difficult game, but it scales so perfectly with how you're playing and how you're choosing to attack things that everything feels like it's just hard enough and not impossibly difficult. And furthering that thought is going back to Ocarina of Time, where Val's in Jabba Jabba's belly and she can't get out. But at this point, there's nothing else in the game for her to do other than this quest. And until she ever beats that, that's where she's going to stay. Whereas in Breath of the Wild, if you come across something that you don't want to do right now, or you don't feel like you're equipped to do, or you're just like, I'm not in the mood for combat, I just want to explore, you just leave and you go somewhere else and you find something else to do. And there are 1,000 things to do in this game at any given time, to where it never feels like you are stuck and you can't progress at all. Because if you're like, I don't want to go do this divine beast, you could go spend another 40 hours just trying to find shrines, you know?
And I do that sometimes. Like, there are times when I sit down to play and I'm like, you know what? I just need to get a bunch of food right now, and I'm so lazy. I don't want to run around trying to kill things. I'm just going to stand over here in this grassy field and scan in Amiibo, collect this stuff, then fast travel to a town, find a place to cook it, and just cook.
A town that you know never rains.
For hours. Like, I just sit there, and it's so entertaining, too, for me to hear him be so excited about simmered fruit. Like,
and at the same time, like,
so disgusting.
Like
simmered fruit.
Like that hour and a half, 2 hours that you're spending just gathering food and then like cooking. Like, in any other game, it would feel like you're just wasting time. But in this game, that actually still feels like you're progressing and you're moving forward in your game.
Well, I'm setting myself up because I know eventually I'm going to go into combat again, and it's going to get wasted, or I'm going to be stuck on the side of a mountain until I got my warm clothes, or my cold clothes, whatever they're called, until I got the cold clothes that I could handle the snow. Like, I was eating so much food just to maintain my hearts while I was in those colder climates, because my one tunic that was a little bit cold resistant wasn't cold resistant enough. You know?
The game definitely makes the chores even beneficial. Like, the cooking and the stuff like that. Or even like I was getting really frustrated because I kept running out of arrows like all the time. I just feel like the game just does not give you enough arrows at all. So I ended up glitching the game out for probably like 20 minutes just to get like
the Bacons on horseback.
Yeah, yep. 300 free arrows. I just sat around. I'm like, yep, I'm just doing this for a while until I get 300 arrows. And then once I did, I was like, okay, good.
So Val's looking at me crazy. If you are in a field and bokoblins are riding around on horses shooting you with arrows.
Right, I hate those ones.
If you move the camera down so it's directly above Link, like top down perfectly,
right.
They will ride around you in a circle and shoot arrows at you and never hit you.
Oh,
and the arrows will land right by you, and you just pick them up as they're shooting them.
Oh, that's cool. Yep. See, what I've been doing is, you said to talk to Beetle every time I go through a stable. Yeah. So I do, and then I generally buy whatever pack he has of arrows. Like, he'll have the one arrow for one, whatever they are, but then he'll have like a pack of 45. I'll just buy one of those from him. So I'm constantly, just so I can have a good relationship. Here's the thing, is I'm kind of relating decisions I make in this game to the way Fable is. Like, if you make decisions that are more aggressive, you end up being a nasty homeowner, town owner, whatever king that you end up being. Whereas if you make decisions that are more pleasant to the rest of the world, and by nature, that is me. Like, even though I say I hate people all the time, that's just generally when I'm in a snarky mood. But like, for the most part, I want everybody to be happy and all live harmoniously, relatively, you know what I mean? Sure. So, like,
also, I apologize for the Fable spoilers. We didn't actually cover that on the show.
I feel like the company isn't even alive anymore.
Rest in
it's
peace,
not,
Fable.
You can't even, still a fantastic game, though. Still a fantastic game. But so I kind of relate that to this too. Like, I feel like I have to maintain good relationships with people that I see on a regular basis, because I don't want them to think poorly of me and us have a sour relationship, even though it may have no impact. Like, there was one person that I was talking to and I was like, oh my gosh, how do I respond to him? Should I say yes excitedly, or what do I say? Like, and you're like, just do this. Just stop. I think I overthink it. And that's whatever.
But you're playing the game your way, and you get enjoyment from that.
Yeah, that's totally like your own metagame, which is amazing. Like, that's the other thing about this game that's incredible is it's the same way that I feel about Minecraft when I play that. Is I basically kind of choose how I want to do things. And there's Minecraft is a little more ambiguous because it's just like literally like there's a sandbox, go do something. Versus Zelda does have a little bit more of a guide. It's like, hey, you need to defeat Ganon at some point, right?
Nope, I'm never.
Princess kind of needs to get saved. So
I'm already decided that is not going to happen for me until I've completed everything else, and not like you said earlier. I did everything I wanted to do. No, I mean literally everything. I may not find all 900 Korok seeds, but every shrine will be defeated. Like, I will find every treasure. Like, I will make sure that everything else is done before I even go to Ganon, because he is the furthest. Like, I'm sorry, Zelda. I love you. I just don't care.
I accidentally ran into Ganon the first time because I was looking for shrines in Hyrule Castle. And I just happened to walk into the area where he was. I was like, oh, crap. And I was like,
that's how you fought him so quickly? Because Josh is just like, Colin beat the game. What? How did he beat the game? I've only got 42 shrines! Like,
there's definitely a series of circumstances how I was able to beat the game so quickly, and it doesn't normally happen. So one of the things was I had, like, the weekend that it came out, I had a dead week in school because finals were up, so I basically didn't have any tests. I just had to write a paper, so I didn't have to study that weekend. And then Hayden actually did a sleepover at my in-laws' house, and then the next day he had a sleepover at his friend's house, so he was gone all weekend. So Sharon and I were literally playing that entire weekend, like all day long.
Do you both have one?
We do, yeah.
Perfect, okay.
Originally what happened was I bought one on Amazon, or I bought one at Best Buy, and then I ordered one on Amazon. I forgot to cancel the Amazon one, and I was going to return it. And then, basically, Sharon got super addicted to playing the game, and she wanted to take it up to Olympia. And I'm like, well, let's keep this other one then, because I still want to play. So that's basically how we... And we bought a digital copy of Zelda. We have 2 copies of Zelda, one for her as well. And anyway, we just had the weekend. Like, we play, like, from the moment Hayden went to his friend's house to sometimes 11 o'clock at night.
Isn't it disgusting?
It's weird
disgusting to me. I've never done that.
What's weird is I haven't played a game that much since I was living with my parents. That was the last time I remember, like, just doing that. And Sharon, like, when she gets into a game, she really does get into a game, but she's, like, way harder into it than, like, any of the other games that she plays, because she just kind of gets obsessed about, like, beating it. So, like, she actually beat the Assassin's Creed games and, like, completed it as much as she could. And I didn't even beat it because I was just like, I watched her the entire time because she was focused on doing that. But she would still she'd play for like 3 hours and be like, okay, I'm done for the day. But like Zelda's like, we're playing for like 7, 8, 9 hours at a time. And we don't know where the time goes. We're like, oh crap, it's time to go to bed. What the heck happened?
I don't think I've done like a 7 or 8 hour stretch, but I've definitely done like a 4-hour stretch. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to get something done. I need to be productive. And then I get up and I start doing some things. Then I'm like, okay, that was enough production, and I'll go sit down and play some more.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But, like, I've told Josh, during the day when I'm at home and nobody's here, I can't let myself think about it. I have to stay focused on everything else I need to do. So, like, he'll text me about, like, how's your day going? And I'll say, I've done this. He's like, geez, you're just killing it. And I'm like, listen, if I stop for a second and sit down, I won't get anything done. I will only be playing this game because I found a nice little corner of the couch. I get cozy. I cover up with a blanket. My phone is near me, and I just go. And it's somewhat disgusting to me because I've never done that before, and I don't recognize the person I've become. I take my Switch places even though I know I may not get time to play it, but like just in case.
Just get that time in. Just get that one shrine in and then you're out.
Yeah, and you just don't know. Like, what if a 5-minute wait turns into a 4-hour wait, and then you're just sitting there going, dang, I wish I would have brought my Switch.
Yeah, this game is definitely
like I don't know what the predicted run battery time is on this thing, but I can play it for about 2.5 hours before all of a sudden I get an alert saying, you need to plug your Switch in. Because Josh plays on the TV, so his is constantly in a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I play, because this is my preferred method of playing anyways, all things. I play the Switch as a whole piece, whatever tablet, in handheld mode. And I play it until it says my battery needs to be charged. And then what I do is I try and plug it in and keep playing, and I'm playing so much that the battery's just not keeping up, and so it'll eventually die. So then I have to do this thing where I plug it in and walk away, where Josh still gets to play on the TV, or I'll run upstairs and put it in the dock because that'll charge it faster. And then I'm just kind of like, well, I wonder when that's going to be ready. I wonder when I'm going to be able to play it again. Do you think it's ready yet?
What power cord are you using? Because I use the power cord that came with the dock, and it never died on me. Like, it went down to 11%, and then I would plug it in, and it wouldn't die on me. So what charger are you using?
It's a USB-C braided cable one that I got from Amazon.
Okay, so
it doesn't. Does yours charge while it's playing, or will it just like pretty much just hover at what it's at?
It'll charge while I'm playing,
okay.
Because it's basically so the second Switch, for the most part, I have the USB power unplugged from the dock, and I just use that power cord and plug it directly into the handheld. So it's basically like it's being charged by the dock.
Yeah,
maybe I should bring that downstairs.
Not in the dock. Right. But I've heard a lot of like different reports about USB-C chargers, and a lot of them can't yield enough power to do both, and that's why like there was a whole hubbub about when the official like AC adapter that you could buy separately came out. Was like, I think it was like $30. People were kind of upset about that because you couldn't use like the $10 cord you buy on Amazon, so because it doesn't yield enough power.
I mean, to be fair, like it will when Valerie's like has it, or when I'm doing it like playing with it plugged in on the cord that I had bought. It'll pretty much just stay, if it's like at 11%, it'll stay like at 11% as you're playing it. It doesn't really drain too much.
Unless you're defeating a boss.
Yeah, depending on how
like
intense you're getting.
When you were playing that boss, it was like 7% and 3% was plugged in.
Well, yeah, it's a lot slower than without it plugged in. I guess it just slows it down. But
one of my favorite ways to play the game, actually, Val, and you were saying you like playing in handheld, is I actually like just putting it on my nightstand and just having two Joy-Cons on my hands in bed, and I can like lay in any position that I want.
I haven't really tried doing that where they're free. Like, I've put it in the, what is that, grip. I've put it in the grip thing and played it like that, and it's all right. It's not bad. Like, and had the screen sitting on the coffee table. I haven't really done it separately, and I think part of that is because, and this harkens back to like in the original NES. For me, I do this thing, and I know people get made fun of for it, where I am the controller. Like, when I make a movement, it is automatically going to happen on the screen. And in some of the shrines, that's the case. Where if you move the controller, it wants you to move the entire control, the whole piece, in order to defeat the shrine. But like, I'm afraid that if I have those two pieces free in my hands, it's going to affect, like, I'm all of a sudden not going to be able to operate the camera correctly, if that makes sense. Because I swing it around when I'm sitting there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't keep it still. I'm usually moving it around. So I'm afraid that I'm nervous about it. I haven't even tried it. I just wasn't really interested in trying it. Maybe I should see how I like it.
Yeah, I was holding it in handheld mode for quite a long time, and I finally just like got tired of just like holding it. So setting down on a flat surface and playing it that way was actually really a lot more comfortable for me personally.
As if we couldn't get any lazier.
Just flop it
right?
down.
Well, you got to get that little stand too to raise it up so it's always charged, and then you can,
Yeah.
I did see a thing for that.
I'm going to get one of those. So.
Yeah, I've been going back and forth on it.
So
Val, what's your favorite enemy in Breath of the Wild, or least favorite enemy? Because there's a lot of enemies. There's a healthy dose of bad guys to fight in Breath of the Wild.
I hate the bokoblins. Is that right? Mm-hmm. I know I say it wrong all the time. Bobokins. I call them Bobokins. But bokoblins, right?
Yeah.
And then goblins. No.
Yeah, and moblins.
Moblins.
Yeah.
Moblins and bokoblins. And Lizarathos.
But there's one enemy that just gets you.
That grinds my gears?
Yeah.
Which one is it? Because now I can't think of it.
The clan.
Oh! I hate
Yiga.
I hate those guys!
It's so
I
annoying.
cannot. Oh my gosh, we need to turn the volume down on the speaker because last time I scared everybody. I cannot. I hate those guys. I can't get them with melee and I can't get them with arrows. There's no defeating them. For me, there's no defeating. So I just do the thing where I run as fast as I can, and he follows me. That little jerk face. He follows me as far as he can. And there was one time that I was on the side of a cliff, and he was on a rock on the other side of a river, and he was still shooting arrows at me, but he couldn't hit me because I was just outside his range. So his arrow would come down and hit the rock right by my feet. And he just kept going. And you know how he does that thing where he disappears and all his money goes flying everywhere, and then he shows up in another spot?
Yeah.
Except for this was like, I was sitting on the cliff like nanny, boo, boo. And he was on the other side where he would do that poof, money would go flying, and he would poof in the same spot. And so instead of moving to different spots to try and get me, he was in the same spot like, I will get you. And he never got me. He never got me. I hate those things.
Do you have motion controls turned on?
I don't know what that is.
Yes, she does.
Okay.
Oh, she needs to turn those off. No wonder she can't hit him.
No, because here's the thing.
I
Because
can't hit him ever! I didn't realize that you could turn.
Weirdly enough, it does help her in certain circumstances because of when she moves, she's moving and she benefits from the reaction of the movement, especially like in the shrine puzzles where you have to move the tablet and such. Like,
Well, yeah, I mean, those are on even if you turn the motion controls off.
oh, okay. Maybe we
Are
should
you
for
telling
her.
me
You should-
there's a way that I could get this guy? Because I see you
Yeah.
get him, and I'm just like, how did you do that? I can't get
Val,
my arrow up fast
you were
enough.
s-
Because then my arrow gets up, and I'm like, I got him in my sights, and all of a sudden, poof, he's gone. And I'm like, then I do this thing where I swing around looking for him, and it's not just my camera swinging around, it's me moving my arms trying to find this fool.
That's why you're having such a hard
But
time,
wait,
because
is
you're
the-
probably shaking the tablet and your aim is going all crazy.
Is the motion control going to make it so when I'm zeroing in on a shrine to nail it, it's, you know how like I zoom in and I find it and I go to pin it, but then I need to get like just a little
You
over
have
and
to
I
use
turn the
stick
thing.
only.
Okay, that might be different. I don't know
See,
if I want that.
she uses it for.
I
some
do
things.
use the
You
motion,
can use
like the
pins with
bokoblins.
motion controls.
What?
Use
No,
the
like
pins with-
when you use like
No.
the binoculars.
When you use the binoculars,
She likes to look around.
and you find a shrine.
Oh no!
I
no,
u-
no, no!
I
That's
will-
so much harder. No,
No, listen, you're not even listening to me.
I know I'm not because it's wrong.
I will see the shrine, and I don't always just turn my whole controller to it. I will go in with the camera, but I like that the shrine juice or saber light or whatever it is. I like that to come directly. I like it to come directly out of the shrine, not to the side of the shrine or to the other side of the shrine, but right out of the middle, like a volcano. Because then when I look on my map, I know exactly where I'm going. So what you'll do is you know the camera it'll go over too far and then it'll over correct, but then I can just turn my handheld just a little bit and it will perfectly nail on there every time. Or like when a bokoblin's on a horse and I'm trying to get him, I'll do the camera controls and then I just follow him with the scope. I'll just follow him and then ching, ching.
She's not a no scope kind of player, Colin.
All right.
But if it's gonna help me
KD
with,
ratio is pretty bad.
but
I'm
if it's
assuming.
gonna help me with the clan members, it might be worth it because those guys every time I start screaming epithets, every single time,
So funny.
I'll be just in the living room cussing. If somebody were to walk in, they wouldn't know what I was doing.
That's true. I showed her the sand tremors in the Gerudo Desert for the first time tonight.
Dan Tremor.
The Tremors. Have you seen the movie Tremors, Colin?
No, I've seen the movie Tremors. I'm trying to think. I fought a creature called Moldoga, but
Yeah,
is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Oh,
Where
okay.
it's-
There's only one. It's just him.
No,
No?
they're all over the desert.
Oh, really?
Oh,
I haven't
yeah.
seen any.
And then
Well, you also played the game, and you're only like 20% done.
and then
Shut up.
every blood moon they respawn. So
Yeah.
I have to make fun
yeah,
of
no,
you.
I've come across 4 or 5 different spots in the desert.
Oh.
Yeah,
I don't really go to the desert much. Honestly, it annoys me.
I enjoy it. It's wide open. It's relaxing.
I don't go to the desert either. Why don't I go to the desert right now?
Because you're afraid.
Oh, because I was always like too
You're
hot.
afraid.
I was always too hot, and then I had to walk around and I just haven't really done that area. My goal has been to unlock all the
Yes.
the things, and then I unlocked the desert, did a couple of quests in there, did some shrines, and I was like, okay, I need to finish some stuff over here, so I'll deal with you later.
What do you guys think about the towers and the way that you have? It's almost like a puzzle in itself to get to them.
Not all of them.
I know, but like there's some that are. I don't. Have you gotten all of them, Val?
I only need one more. Some of them I have. Some of them, I don't know how this has happened. I have managed to miss every bad guy, whether it be Guardian or Bokoblin or Moblin or whatever other Oblin there is. I have managed to, I don't know what it is, but like I see the tower and then I just look at it and I'm just like, okay, I'm not going to go up the obvious way because the obvious way is going to get me into trouble. So I will go up probably the most difficult way, which is usually climbing a cliff or something. And I'll do it in spurts, and then I make sure I just constantly have food or an elixir that redoes my stamina, which is the best thing ever when you're on the side of a cliff and you're about to go red. So somehow there's been like 3 or 4 towers that I haven't had to deal with any monster, any bad guy. Even Guardians, I've somehow managed to evade. And major test of strength, I can't do. And Josh will do those for me. Guardians in the wild, I don't even try. If I see a Guardian graveyard, I already know, and this has happened on more than one occasion, I already know one of those dudes is going to come alive. One of them. So, like, if Josh was playing that one, the Labyrinth one, and you fell down into that area where they were just all over.
Hold on, Colin.
Yeah.
The Labyrinth up in the northeast corner of the map.
Mm-hmm.
You obviously did because you got all the shrines. But did you go into the basement of that Labyrinth?
Yep.
The graveyard?
Yep.
And there's like 8,000
Josh
Guardians
is running around. I go, babe, one of those dudes is going to wake up. One of those dudes is going to wake up. And all of a sudden, 3 of them are attacking him. And he's like,
yeah, so
I
GTFO'd out there because, like, I basically paused it and I warped out of there. I was like, nope, not even.
I didn't even think about warping. I
you
ran.
Didn't. He ran. He ran, and all these lights are on him, and he's trying to do the wind thing where he goes straight. Like it was crazy. But basically, I do the same thing. If I see, now you have told me, and I don't know what benefit this is going to give to me besides when I go and talk to the fairies, and I don't even know if she even gets those things. She just wants monster parts. I don't know, but you have told me always scavenge. And every time I see a graveyard, I'll scavenge ones that I can tell are not coming out of the ground. Like, I know they're not. Like, there is, what is this called? One of the tech lab that's in the upper top corner.
Where Robbie is.
Yeah. I was like, dude, these all have to be safe because it's right outside the tech lab, but I'm not going to try. I just go all the way around. And I don't mean like a couple of feet. I mean, I go all the way around. So if I see a giant sleeping, if I see a Bokoblin or Macablin or lizard camp where the bad guys are, unless I see a treasure chest on the top of one of their lookout points, I'm just like, I don't need to go up in there and fight them. I will go all the way around. And so I've managed to unlock some towers without ever having to touch anybody. And if there's a guardian that I see like climbing mountains, I will avoid at all costs wherever it is because I don't have time for that. Like,
Colin, what do you think of the towers and the puzzles?
I have mixed feelings. Some of them I find to be really fun and endearing, and other ones I find to be extremely frustrating to the point where it's like, it's pointless. Like, this is not fun at all.
Sure.
Especially there's one of the towers, and I don't remember what it's called, but you're surrounded by water, and there's like 3 lightning wizards, and then there's lightning lizards, lizards and wizards,
mm-hmm.
and I screamed obscenities.
I call them
doing
witches.
That tower
I call them witches.
Oh man, the first time I saw one of those things, I was so freaked out. I was like, "That is the freakiest looking thing I've ever seen in this game."
I thought it was nice because
they
it
look
was skipping.
so out of place.
It was
Like,
skipping, and I was like, "It looks like it has a Hershey Kiss head."
Oh my gosh. Anyway, that tower in particular, like I wanted to snap my controller in half because it was so frustrating.
I think Josh did that tower for me because I snuck up in there. I saw the witches, and I was just like, no way. No way. So I had to have Josh help me. But other ones, I have managed to... There's like the one where there's the mud around the base, and then the stones jetting out. Yeah. I like went all the way around to where she wasn't at. I call it a she. I went all the way around to where she wasn't at, climbed up that stone, and then parachuted in, and paraglided into the side, and just hop jumped. I was like, fast. Not letting that lady get me.
Yeah.
I don't even try.
I don't know. I kind of got sick of doing them after a while, like climbing up high. But like some of them were really fun. Like the one that you were saying, Val, where you're saying there was like mud. I thought that was kind of fun because there really wasn't a whole lot of enemies around, right. And you basically had to figure out how to do it. And the first time that I got that tower in my first playthrough, I did it completely different on the second time. The second time, like, I actually did, I think, what the designers intended, and that was to knock the stone down, and you basically just use it as a ramp and walk up.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. How'd you knock it down?
Stasis.
Yeah. So,
really? I didn't even think of that. I saw it jetting out to the side, like, and I was like, oh, they want me to climb up it and then paraglide in. That's what they want me to do.
There's so many weird things that's like, you don't really figure out until you go back to it and approach it a different way. Like one of the very early things in the game that, like, another facepalm moment was I kept seeing treasure chests in the water. I'm like, what the heck? How do I get these? I can't dive. Do I have to get a dive thing? I must have to get a diving thing, thinking about
Iron boots.
Iron boots, right. Yeah, something like that. I'm like, that's the only way I can get it. And then, like, I think I was upstairs and getting ready for bed, and like it just popped in my head. I'm like, what the heck? Treasure chests are made of metal. I could use the magnesis. So I like ran back downstairs, and sure enough, I'm like,
So I didn't even notice treasure chests in the water until I was outside of one shrine and there was water. And I looked over and I'm like, that treasure chest is half buried. What's that doing there? How do I get that out? And then I think you said, use magnesis to get it out. So I pulled it out, and then every time you would play, I would see you using the magnesis looking, and I was like, why do you keep activating that? What are you even doing?
Just scanning.
Because you know what it reminds me of? Batman.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Batman with the scanning, and that sound is like forever. That sound in Batman is stuck in my head. So when you've been doing it on the TV, because you have the volume up and I keep my volume relatively low, like, I'm like, this is dumb. Why does he keep doing this? And you're like, I'm looking for treasure chests. Today I was in Zora's Kingdom, and I was just like, looking for treasure chests, guys. Found them everywhere. Found an iron sledgehammer. I don't even need one, but I was excited to find one. Like,
you can also take a picture of it too and have that be your sensor.
Nope, I don't.
She doesn't
until I get all the shrines done.
I don't blame you. I didn't want to sacrifice that either. But
Josh is like, take a picture, and then I was looking for 10 crickets.
The crickets
for the dude, the whatever, and I couldn't figure out how to catch a cricket. It took me a really long time, and then I got smart, and I was like, you know what? Crickets like to hang out in plains of grass, and so I went up to the decrepit planting beds that are it's in Hetno, isn't it? Mm-hmm. I went up there and I just crouched down and walked around slow for like 30 minutes on both levels, and I was like, I got 6. I'm good. I feel really good about my progress. If I find 4 more, woo woo, you know. But
that's the best thing about this game, though. It's like it's all like logic based.
Right.
Like that's not a thing you could do. I can't think of any game that is like that where you're like, well, I'm looking for crickets. Where do crickets hang out? They hang out in tall grass. Okay, I'll go look in tall grass. Sure enough, they're in tall grass. Like,
right.
It's so crazy. Like,
right.
It's like perfectly designed. I just cannot believe how incredible this game is. Every little detail is all like, oh, well, I can electricity is conducted by metal. So if I find metal,
right.
then I can, zap something. That's just crazy.
You could get enemies to pick up leaves and sticks as weapons. You know that?
What's that?
Like if you disarm an enemy and then you drop like a tree branch or a leaf, they'll pick that up and try to use it as a weapon instead.
Of course they will. And
Yeah.
also like those
They're
big
stupid. They're so
old
stupid.
like Cyclops guys,
Uh-huh.
they always have like a wooden thing on their leg, so you can light the wooden thing on fire and then they'll try to put it out and you can attack them while they're trying to put it out.
Or-
That's another thing.
Or they always sleep with one hand down on the ground.
Mhm.
You could sneak up and stand on their hand, and then he'll go to scratch his belly, and he'll just place you basically on his belly.
What?
And you could crouch and walk up to his necklace and steal whatever weapons and shit he had.
No, you can do
Ooh, stuff.
You
on
said
it.
a bad word.
You can steal whatever stuff he has on his neck, and he just puts you right on his belly. Especially if you have like your stealth gear on, like you could just walk around and he'll never know.
That's crazy.
But you
I didn't
can't
know
get
you
up
could do
there
that.
unless he puts you on there with his own hand.
Oh my gosh. This game's nuts.
It's so good, though. It's so stinking good.
I'm so
And
happy that you love it, Val. Like
we-
I remember like when Josh said that he got you a Switch in Zelda, I'm like, ooh, she could have beat
That-
Ocarina.
That,
How's she
that
gonna
might
do
be
with
a
this?
giant waste of money, buddy.
So I was like, oh man, I don't know if she's gonna like it. It's gonna be like difficult because like when I started it, I'm like, this game is really hard. Like this is not like Zelda at all. Like it's the most non-Zelda game I've ever played.
I'm in love with it. I'm obsessed in love with it.
The one thing that I do wish, my one big gripe with it of the game is I wish that there were more dungeons, and the dungeons that are there were really interesting because you can shift like how they move and stuff, kind of similar to what they did in Majora's Mask, where like they did the upside down temple.
Mhm.
I just wish that they were more intricate, and I wish there were more of them. And
What are what are
The
dungeons?
beasts. The
Oh,
divine
those are
beasts.
called dungeons.
Well,
they're equivalent of what dungeons have always been in
In
Zelda
previous games?
Yeah.
I'll tell you my biggest gripe, and it's not even fair for this to be a gripe for me, is that there's not more shrines. Hear me out. You told me there's 120 something.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And Colin's finished them all, right?
Yeah.
And you're close. I know I helped you get like 6 the other day.
Yeah, I'm at like 70
Okay.
something.
I'm at like 48 or 50 something. All I keep thinking is there should be shrine here, a shrine here, shrine here. There better be DLC with random shrines, because once I get all the shrines, I'm going to need more.
Seeds.
No. And that might be entertaining for a little while, but after a while you can only hear so many like you can't.
Yeah.
That gets annoying. Like when you keep finding seeds, I'm just like, shut up. I don't care. You
Wait,
need to
have you-
turn that off.
Val, have you done the naked dance with the big upgrade guy?
The naked dance with the upgrade guy.
So the big leaf upgrade guy, you know.
Oh,
where
I
you
found
turn
him
into
before
Grox?
Josh did.
Tetsu.
So next time you talk to him, just strip down. It's really funny.
Oh my gosh, I totally will.
I didn't even know about Hetsu. I had no idea what to do with the Korok seeds until Val was playing. She was like, "What's this guy do?" I'm like,
Well, no, I was in
I don't
Village and I could see, I was in Hetno and I looked up and I was like, man, there is a white person
Yeah, I
like
snuck
standing
up
up
on him. 'cause I
on
was
the
scared.
side of that mountain. And I was like, that is really strange. But I had to go up that path because Josh kept telling me to go find somebody to talk about the fairy.
Fairy.
So he's like, just follow the path. That's all he said. So I'm following the path. I find the little puzzle in the side of the wall. He sees me do that. And I'm keep following the path. And then I come across the guy and I do the seed thing with him. And I'm just like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like, Josh didn't say anything about that. And then when I showed him, I was like, that's what that white thing was that I was looking up at, because you didn't see it when I first said, what's that white thing? Because it is a form. You can tell it's a something, and it's not just a tree. I thought maybe it was a glitch or something. So when I did find it, and you're like, that's what you do with these seeds? It was great. And that's something that I love, that I'm finding stuff that you're not finding, because you being the Zelda player of past games, I automatically assume that everybody else is going to have nailed everything before I've even found it. So when I find something that you haven't found and figure it out, it makes me feel really good. And like I might actually be able to call myself a gamer someday.
I don't feel like this game at all. Like even if you had Zelda experience before, I don't really think you need that at all. Like I don't feel like it even prepared me a little bit for this game.
"How do you feel about the dragons?"
Pretty.
They're really cool. Like they had like that ethereal music like playing.
Yeah.
It's like
Oh, I didn't know
calming
that.
and like
Have you you take advantage of shooting them.
Yeah, because you have to for shrines.
Okay, so 2 things. I didn't know about the dragons. So I am doing a shrine one day, and I look over, and I see this thing coming out of the sky, and it looks like it's coming at me. And I'm like, that looks like a Chinese dragon. And it's going to attack me, and nobody has told me about the dragons. So I'm watching it float through the sky, and I think I called you at work. Mm-hmm. I called you, and I was like, babe, there's a dragon, and it's coming after me. And you were like, and I said, it's a green dragon. You said yellow, and I said, no, this is a green dragon. There are no green dragons. But I don't know, there's one in my game. Like, it is floating through the sky, and it's not trying to attack me. It's just floating and doing these cool little things. And I said, I don't know what to do. And you're like, I don't know about a green dragon. Then you talk to Colin, you're like, confirmed, you're like, green dragon exists. I'm like, that's good because I saw it. And then you told me that I needed to shoot it. But every time I've seen any of the dragons, I just let them do their thing.
Sure.
Because
you get parts from them.
Right, but right now they're not like a main thing on my thing.
Yeah, they stay away.
And they're pretty. So in the night sky, when I look up and I'm standing over, I was trying to get to the shrine that's in the middle of the lake in that little area where like you can't really tell unless you're on one side that there's a shrine there. There's just like an island, like Crater Lake, but then the shrine is like tucked in. I was trying to get to that. Reference. So I was standing there I was looking at the best way to fly in, and like I saw the dragon, and it was nighttime and there were stars, and I was like, so pretty.
They come back every day.
Yeah. They're cool. I haven't taken advantage of them, and I will, obviously, especially if I need to do shrines with them, because you know me, I'm got to get those shrines.
Yeah, every single one of those dragons you see, you need to get one of their scales, so be sure to do that.
Yeah.
I will when I'm ready. I have, like, we listened to a podcast the other day where there was a guy that was just ragging on the game. What podcast was that?
Nintendo Voice Chat.
He almost didn't have anything nice to say. And I was getting angry.
Oh.
What?
Who was that didn't like it?
I can't remember who it was. It wasn't one of the normal people on ABC.
He has a accent.
Okay.
I think it was the guy. It was a guy that had an accent.
Okay. Anyway.
Huh? I don't know their names.
No, Jose loves it. So
I just was listening to each one of them talk.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I thought it was a gentleman that had an accent.
It was the most recent episode where they were being more critical of it.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which I did agree with a lot.
As somebody who doesn't play a lot of games like you guys do, I watch a lot, but I don't play a lot. Or I watch some. I don't have any problems with this game. I think that it's lovely. It's very engaging. There's a lot to do. Even if a lot to do is just to fly around and gather things and fight stupid little monsters, not the big ones because I'm just not ready yet. But, even if that's the only thing that I really do, and then discover a Korok seed or a shrine or a treasure chest, I don't think I'll ever be able to fight a Lionel. Lionel! I don't think I'll ever be able to do that.
It's because they're stupid.
Yeah, but you get cool stuff from them.
Yeah, but don't fight the ones in Hyrule Castle. That's bad.
Well, I won't be fighting them at all.
That's true.
You will be. For me. And they're really pretty. It's very immersive, this game. Like I said before, like I am sinking hours into this game, and it wasn't until Josh showed me the other day that I was like over 40 hours. I was just like, oh, that's like a whole week's worth of pay. Like, that's a job. This game just became my job. It is so beautiful, and I think that when I think about it ending, and that's probably why I don't want to deal with Ganon, another one of the reasons, is because the idea of it ending is sad to me. That's where I'm hoping that more DLC will come out for more shrines, because I look at the map and I'm like, there's so many empty spaces. I want there to be something besides little stuff like treasure chests or, Korok seeds or whatever. I want there to be more things added later on, whether the map gets bigger or what. Because when I first started playing and I unlocked you have the first region, of the map, I was just like, this game is so big. And then I'm seeing you unlocking all these, and I'm seeing like the whole map, and I'm like, holy moly, this game is so, like, I am never going to be able to wander every inch of this map.
Yeah.
And and now having everything but that one region unlocked, like even now when I play in your worlds, I'm just like, where am I? And I have to do this thing where I'm on my map and you're on your map, and I have you open it up, and I'm like, okay, so to the left and go up like just like an inch. Like if you just go up and then I zoom in, you know, and like we have to talk to each other about our maps at separate times.
There's a beach.
It's so big, and I'm sad to think that there might be an end. So like hearing about how you had already defeated Ganon, and then watching Josh defeat him the other day, I was kind of upset. And then he told me that like, he told me before he knew, but he told me that once you defeat Ganon, you can go back and still play the game, but it's as if you never defeated Ganon, which you had told him today that that's not necessarily the case. But because to me, once I defeat Ganon and the game is over, I don't know that I want to go back and pretend like I didn't defeat the biggest baddie. I almost said a bad word. You know what I mean?
I thought I was going to feel that way too. Like, it's like after I beat him the first time, I was like, well, I don't know if I want to do anything else. And then I started getting like, I started just kind of like messing around in it. And then I started getting a shrine. I'm like, I gotta get all the shrines now. Yeah, this is really fun.
Well, see, and that's where I'm
gonna do all this. So
that's where I'm kind of like, I want to get all the shrines before I even get to him. Anyways, like getting to him wasn't my goal.
Something I recommend everybody to do, and I didn't think it was a big deal until I got all of the memories. Get all the memories.
Right.
Like if you care at all about the narrative,
yeah,
it actually has a pretty like somber story, which I was not expecting. Like I wasn't expecting.
The final memory is like, oh god.
Yeah. Don't tell me. Did I see it?
No, you didn't.
Okay, good.
That's the thing is like there are moments in that game that I just was not expecting, and it's really like it makes Zelda as a character just so much more significant. Like versus like the other games, she's just kind of always like, yeah, I'm the, you know, I am part of the Triforce. I am powerful. I'm royalty, and that's pretty much her story.
Right.
Oh, I'm trapped by Ganon. This one, it shows the trials and tribulations you go through and like mistakes that had, and like it's just amazing. Like it's really really well done story. So please, anybody listening, get all the memories. It's super important, I think.
Mm-hmm. Hyrule Castle was far more fascinating because once I beat Ganon, so I ran through the castle, I ran into 2 Lionels, which was just murderous, and I ended up getting 2 Ganon with no shield, which I don't recommend anybody does.
Yeah, don't do that.
Why did you do that again?
Because I had no shields, because I wasted them all fighting Guardians and Lionels.
Right. That's
and
right.
I wasn't, like Colin, I didn't know where to find Ganon, and I stumbled into a room. It's like, well, here we go.
So this is happening.
So beating him with no shield was almost impossible. But after I beat him, and it kind of puts you right back into just the outskirts of the castle, I'm just like, I'm just going to go kind of wander around these areas as quickly and silently as I could. And then I ended up getting into the castle and going through, and you find like her study, Zelda's study, and you find like the dining room and the docks and the different chambers and everything like that. I'm like, oh my god, there's like just the castle alone is this entire giant area that's so unexpected, because you go the entire game trying to avoid that castle as much as you can, because it's just like there's nothing good there. Like it's just corruption and death and destruction. Like Val, she's like, I'm never even going to get close to that thing.
I haven't even walked by it.
But like once you get in the castle, you're just like, oh, this is like a whole nother little world.
Yeah,
within the walls of this castle. It's just, I want to explore every nook and cranny of this one building.
Yeah, it and also like it's really rewarding to explore too, because you will find so much stuff. You'll find the dragon scales and treasure chests there.
Yep.
You will find some of the best weapons in the game. You'll find the best shield in the game. Like you will find so much good stuff in that castle, and like all the encounters, once again, like the rest of the game, are all rewarding.
Yep.
Go ahead. Sorry, I'm sorry.
No, that's it.
As I'm having thoughts, I feel like noises are coming out of my mouth. That is something that I have complained about. When I complete a shrine, I feel like I should get a reward that is comparable to what I've just defeated. And while Amber is money eventually,
She hates Amber so much.
while it's money eventually, when I go in there and I open up a treasure chest and that treasure chest has a measly weapon in it that is less what is this word that I'm looking for? Is less damage than any other thing I'm carrying, like up into this point of the game. And I know, I get it, like not everybody's opening the game up the same way I'm opening the game up, but like in my head, I'm like, no, game, you should understand that I am currently at this progress, and for you to even insult me with a 12 damage weapon when I'm currently carrying a 38 is just insulting.
Yeah.
Right?
Once you get to once you get to the point in the game where like you have a pretty significant amount of hearts and you're still getting shrines, like you found so much better stuff that's available in 90% of the shrines, to the point where like I was doing it. I had, I think, like 60-ish shrines by the time I defeated Ganon the first time, and like after 60, I feel like every single time getting that second treasure chest was a slap in the face.
Right.
And I just chose not to do it. Like,
it's almost like I feel like the game should recognize that you're at this certain level where you should automatically be getting equipment, because I am getting sometimes better gear in the amiibo that I'm scanning in than some of the shrines that I'm defeating, that actually some of them might be a little bit like a test of skill. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, I just went through all of that for Amber? Or I just went through all of that for an insulting 12? Like, get out of here.
The cool thing I think about the shrines, though, with the treasure chest, even if you get like a bad loot, I like that it has that secondary puzzle to it. It reminds me of Mario getting the purple coins or green coins or whatever in those levels. Like, you have to get that in addition to beating the level.
But sometimes I don't get that second. Like, I'll look around, I'll be like, I see you, treasure chest, but I ain't even trying. And like, you told me I could mark it and come back to it later. I didn't know that until like 40 shrines in. I was just like, there's so many that I left untapped. I am not going back and redoing the shrine for this. It's not worth it. Especially if I'm just going to get a stupid 8 or a 2 torch. Like, are you joking me? So I will say that that's one gripe that I have, because there are some times where I'm like, man, I'm so proud of myself for defeating that shrine. I'm so pat on the back. I can't believe I just did that. Before I go get my spirit orb, I'm going to open this treasure chest. Oh, what?
There are skills that you learn in this game of different things that you could do that you just don't use very often. But then when you can do them again, you're just like, oh, I can't believe I forgot that I could do this, but it's so great. Example, early on in the game, when you're going around and doing the first 4 shrines that you're tasked to, there's like this you have to cross a river to get over and start making your way to the old man in the cabin, right? There's this bokoblin camp that you come across, and they're all up in the tree. They're in a little tree house. And there's no way to get up to them because there's no steps leading up to them. But there's like this, it's basically like a drawbridge that's held up by ropes. And you could shoot the ropes with the arrow and it'll drop the bridge, and then you could run up there and go slaughter them all and move about your business and eventually cross the river and go on. I showed you how to do it. It was very early on in the game, like the first 3 hours.
Which
right?
I know I wasn't engaged.
And that was cool, like being able to shoot the ropes and things drop. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And in my head, now that I just learned the skill, I'm going to be doing this all the time.
But you don't. I
didn't use it for another 60 hours in the game until I came across this one shrine, and there's this treasure chest up in like this corner, the top corner of inside of the shrine, and there's just like this little wooden platform.
I'm the one that told you about this, right?
No. There's just this little wooden platform that it's sitting on, and there's 2 ropes holding the platform to the wall.
Oh, I did that.
And I'm sitting there, I'm like, how do I get that shrine? There's no way to fly over to treasure it. Chest. There's no way I could move anything metal. Nothing. I can't figure out how to get it. And then I'm just like, the ropes. And I shoot an arrow at the rope, and it drops the platform, and the treasure chest just falls right in front of me. I'm like, 60 hours later, I use this one skill that I learned early in the game to
it's like
get another chest, and that's incredible.
the shrine where you had to burn everything, but we were like, how do you get that chest? And then I was like, it's too bad you can't light it on fire. Or no, the thorns. There was thorns everywhere. And I was like,
right.
it's too bad you can't light those on fire. You're like, well, let's see if we can. And did it. And we're like, holy moly, you can just burn all the thorns. You don't even have to try and invade. Because I was like climbing all the way up this mountain just to fly into this. So I'm like 5 years away flying into this one stupid shrine that's covered in thorns that I could have burned up. Like, it's silly stuff like that. Yeah. But it's cool because later in a shrine you had to burn leaves in order for one treasure chest to fall, and that's the same shrine where the other one was up against the wall being held with the strings, and I was like, I can burn that wooden thing that it's sitting on.
Oh, I didn't even
it totally lit on fire and the chest fell down. I was like, that's how you get the second treasure chest.
So many different ways to attack things.
I love it.
So cool. We could sit here and do this all night, but we probably shouldn't. One last thing, though. Val obviously loves the game. Colin and I both love the game. But Val, you haven't made the commitment yet, but you are dangerously close to permanently expressing your love for this game and this experience that you're having.
Yeah, I since like shrine number 5, I've been saying, I'm going to get this tattooed on my body. I'm going to get this tattooed on my body. Because I say it all the time, but never in this construct. But when you go and defeat a shrine, and the very last thing that the spirit says to you is, may the goddess be with you.
Smile upon you.
May the goddess smile upon you, right? The first time I read that, I was just like, oh my God, that's so exactly how I feel about like spirituality and religion. Like, may the goddess smile upon you. And so after about the 5th shrine, I was like, I'm getting that tattooed on me somewhere. And every single shrine I've defeated after that, when I say that at the very end, like I will read it every single time. I get the chills, and then I say, I'm getting that tattooed on me.
Yeah.
Dang.
It's happening.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
She's trying to figure out what artwork to accompany it, if anything. She kind of wants the Sheikah Slate logo.
Yeah.
But just the eye, the lashes, and that little thing that's coming out of the eye. Not necessarily like the little, I don't know, maybe. But I definitely want to get may the goddess smile upon you. Because it just like embodies how I feel about religion and spirituality.
Life.
Because I've done a lot of I've taken a lot of classes around like not just how our country was founded, but kind of how the world was shaped by religion, and it's kind of shaped me how I am. And so like I just have gone into this like mindset of the goddess, and I say it all the time. I'm like, instead of like a lot of people say, oh my God, I'll say, oh my goddess, or just something like that. So, when I read that the first time, I was just like, yep, that's a tattoo that's happening. And I'm sure other people have had it. I'm sure other people have it, but I need it. Like, it just fits me.
Colin, what Zelda tattoo are you getting?
None.
I'm gonna get a smiling, rolling Goron tumbling down my back.
That's quite elaborate.
I can't go into that. I don't like wearing that fire suit.
She hates Death Mountain.
I hate it. I think it's because I burned up so many times trying to get in there. And that one, what are these called? Not the divine beast, but the smaller small boss, minor boss, mini boss. I knew there was a word for it. So when you're trying to get into Death Mountain and you said, just run past everybody trying to stop you.
Yeah.
And then that mini boss comes up and I was just like, nah, dude, not today. But like all of my stuff is on fire, right? Like all my equipment is smoking, even if it's not on my body, because it's in my pack, it's all smoking. That stresses me out because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's everything I have. It's all going up in flames. This is over. And so I just wasn't doing very well. I mean, I made it into death and I immediately bought my suit, and ever since then it's been fine. But like then I feel like that suit is weighing me down, so it's automatically taking away from my run speed and my stamina. Even though you told me it has no impact, I'm like, no, I feel heavy. I feel heavy outside of this game because I'm wearing all of this metal that's protecting my body. Like, I don't like it. So I avoid that whole area. I haven't done that Divine Beast. Like, I haven't even.
There's so many shrines in there you need to.
I know. I keep focusing on I kind of am doing this like in the order that you kind of come into it. I've been starting off like I'll go in and go down. Like I'll start up here on the right and make my way left before I ever. I don't know. It's so weird, but the game, I can't help but smile, and I can't help but to think about it constantly and see things around me that trigger a thought about the game, you know, like, and I love it when I say something about Zelda and somebody who I've never talked to about video games, who doesn't know that I like certain video games, like we have no relationship around video games, says to me, oh, what are you playing? Or, oh, are you talking about Zelda? And then I say about the Switch, and they're just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you have that. That's so cool. Or I have one too, and I'm obsessed with that game. And then all of a sudden we get into this like intense conversation about this game. Like, I'm excited for Animal Crossing and Disney Magical World to come to the Switch, but right now I'm super happy. I'm super happy that I fell in love with this game.
Colin, you have any final thoughts about Zelda?
I'm just sad. Sad that it's over.
You sad boy.
Sad boy. I'm honestly like seriously getting hyped about the game and like contemplating in my head like maybe I should get those Kuruk seeds.
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Maybe I should.
I wouldn't be able to stop playing.
Just I don't know how
you've just like
I don't know
said that it's over.
No.
Like to me that no.
My problem with it is I have so many games to play.
Yeah,
so many to play.
See, all these games are coming out, and I don't have that problem. I only have this until Animal Crossing. So since that's like
so you're not going to
4
get Mario
miles
Odyssey.
away at least.
She's getting Mario Kart.
Yeah,
Mario
but I
Kart's
don't.
out in a month. Mario Odyssey's out.
I don't know what that is.
It's a new Mario game.
I don't know, but your Mario amiibo are so cute.
Thanks.
So cute. And I love how they just instantly give me 4 things of food and no treasure chest. I don't have to mess with the garbage.
The Superstars cards.
Yeah.
That's what she's talking about.
Cute. And I would do my Animal Crossing ones to all the people that have asked, but those are all in sleeves and protected, and I'm just not messing with that because then I risk trying to bend the cards, and I'm not doing that. It's not happening.
They scan through the sleeves.
Do they?
Yeah.
Dang it.
I did it.
1 page at a time. Just
for me, I mean, only thing I could really say about it is one of my favorite games I've ever played in my entire life. And not for... I have a lot of favorite games for various reasons, whether they have some sort of nostalgia attached to them, whether they have a story that I will never be able to forget, or experiences or whatever. But like this game, in its most purest form, is one of, if not the best games I have ever just played. Just sat down and just played, you know.
Yeah. I can't believe how good it is. I still can't. Like, it's still weird to me that like all these critics are giving it 10 out of 10, but the fans are also agreeing with them too.
Yeah.
Like,
it has no right to be this good.
Yeah,
I don't even know about that.
I don't even understand like how you go from a game like Skyward Sword, which is probably the lowest point in that series for me, to this, which is I mean, nostalgia kind of gets in the way because I still like Majora's Mask the best, but like my heart says Majora's Mask, but my brain says Breath of the Wild is the best Zelda game for me.
Yeah,
so.
It will be fun to look back at this game in 2-3 years and just be like, that was incredible.
I will say, when there are times when we're both sitting on the couch and like I'm reading a book and you're playing a game and we're connecting because we're in the same room, but we're not like connecting, you know, like we may be sitting near each other, but like I'm engrossed in what I'm doing, and those moments are fine. I love those moments, don't get me wrong. I love reading my books, but there is something to be said to be sitting on the same couch as your partner playing the same game but in 2 different ways. Like today there was a moment when you came home at lunch, because you come home from lunch, you start playing, I sit down on the couch, I stop whatever I'm doing and I start playing, and for that hour that you're home, or 45 minutes, however long it takes me to get situated, like we sit there and play together on separate systems and like help each other out. Like I said, like we switches and play each other's games and then, you know, hand back. But like there's like we both were going through a blood moon phase at the same time, or red moon or whatever it's called at the same time. You're like, that's so weird. And I'm like, it's like they're synced up. It's like
it literally happened within 3 seconds of each other.
Yeah.
It was the strangest thing.
But it's cool. Like but I also feel like we're doing an activity together, even though we're doing it separately. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, so we're still having that connection of doing something together, even though we're doing it on separate systems. And it's, I kind of like that because you sometimes want me to watch you playing games, but like I'm so engrossed in my book that I'm just kind of like, no, leave me alone. I want to read, you know. This is been a way for us to both play something that we're both in love with and enjoy playing with each other, but not playing with each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love it. I cannot say enough good things. I may sit on the couch and cuss and scream at, you know, whatever current bad guy I'm trying to fight with. But at the end of the day, like I said before, I have never spent so much time on a game and still feel like I have hours to go, you know, and still enjoy it and still crave it and think about it outside of this. I've never had, you know, not Tsum on my phone, nothing has ever had this impact on me. And it's so, I get it because before when everybody was like, Zelda is such a great story. And I was just like, there's so many different games and none of it seems to follow the same line. And like, I can't read a book from beginning to end and know everything about it. Like it just didn't feel whole to me. Like this one game, even if I don't know anything about Zelda before now, is perfect. And sometimes I ask you questions, I'll be like, I don't understand. Like, and then you'll give me a little bit of backstory from something else, and that's just enough. It fills the brief. Like, this game fills the brief. Whatever I needed from it, it's doing it. I love it.
Yep.
I'm going to get it tattooed on my body, which is not something I ever thought, ever. I know people that have Zelda tattoos, and I'm like, that must mean something to you. Like, that means something to you when you get something tattooed on your body, you know? I'm totally going to go and get this tattooed on my body. And because it just hit so many, just hit it. My soul, my heart. I love it.
Well, thank you all for listening. This has been a fun episode. Hope you enjoyed us talking about Zelda all night long. It was a lot of fun. Valerie, thank you for joining Colin and I.
Hey, thanks for having me.
We look forward to you joining us for the PlayStation Week next week.
What are we talking about? I always have to ask.
Don't know yet.
Oh.
It's a surprise.
Might not be worth it.
Wow.
I'm still going to be... Oh, you know what? Kingdom Hearts. If people have copies of that. We don't have a copy yet.
It just came out Tuesday.
Okay, but I've seen people
I'm not getting it.
like post. You're not.
It's
we're
the
not
old games. You're not going to play them. I'm not going to play them.
I might play them.
I'm definitely going to get them, but I'm not going to get them until I beat Horizon.
Yeah,
that's my
not
next.
Gonna play
That's
them,
my
Colin.
next. Oh, I'm going to get them.
You're not going to play them.
Oh,
I
I'm
said.
definitely going to play them.
No, you're
I'm
not.
Why do you say
100%
that?
I'm 100% going to play it.
Okay.
Why do you say that? Like, why aren't we getting them? Why wouldn't we play them?
Because
right now I'm busy.
I've played them before. They're just there's so many other
like
games
Kingdom
coming
Hearts.
out after that. I can't wrap my head around spending the amount of time that Kingdom Hearts requires for that kind of game when I'm still putting in the time that I'm putting into Zelda.
Is there not a new Kingdom Hearts game coming out? I thought that was
Kingdom Hearts 3 is somewhere.
It's like 12 years from now.
Yeah.
So.
It's still in development.
Oh, I thought that was.
No.
I thought that was part of like they were just gearing up for that.
They're
like
just
we're
re-releasing all the old
re-releasing
ones just to
all the
shut
old
people
ones
up.
to get.
No, just to shut people up.
Oh,
Yep. Basically.
So eventually, Kingdom Hearts 3 will come out, and I'll get Kingdom Hearts 3.
when do you think we'll get Animal Crossing?
I'm guessing next year.
We'll get news at E3.
What?
We'll get news at E3.
You'll get your mobile game this year, Val, but you won't get the full game until next year, probably.
Well, we'll see.
So my Switch, basically, after I finish Zelda, is just gonna sit there.
You're not gonna finish it for a
I
while.
will say that I'm gonna say this. I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but I'm gonna say this. When we talked about the Switch coming out and I was just like, no, I'm in love with my DS. I don't ever want to have a Switch. I don't find it necessary. I'm so in love with this stupid system
So good.
that I can't pick up my DS. I can't.
It hurts.
Yeah.
I like Lexi is like, Mom, can I play your DS? And I'm like, go ahead. I don't even care what you do. Don't mess up my town, but go ahead and play my DS, because I honestly cannot even look at it without being a little bit disgusted.
Yeah, I kind of get like that in the Wii U gamepad. Every time I look at it, I'm like, ooh.
It's gross.
It's like a toy.
I
like,
don't
it's
know
not...
what it is. This thing is so... And the case I have for it, just slick. Just slick.
Val,
Stupid.
where can people get a hold of you at and say hello?
At Valerie Striplin on Twitter and Instagram.
Ooh,
I don't
look
know.
at that.
I was like, oh yeah, that's like that too.
Colin, what about you, my friend?
I'm on Twitter at PDX_geek.
Simple enough.
This is done by Dark Horse?
You can find me on Twitter at The Noise with a Y. Be sure to follow the show on Twitter at Joys of Games. You could email us, joysofgames@gmail.com. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Tons
this was...
of fun.
We should...
Did you get it out of your system, Val?
I don't know. I have a feeling what's going to happen is we're going to hang up, and then I'm going to do this thing where I go through what we talked about.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to remember things that over the last couple of weeks I've been wanting to say, and I'm going to say, let's do a Platform Junkies of this game, because I don't know. I don't know.
Thank you all for listening. We'll
Also,
see you
I might need to curse.
next week.
I need to get that out.
PlayStation Week. We'll have some fun. We'll still
I
be
won't
thinking
be here.
about Zelda. Val won't be here,
I
but she'll
will
be here in
playing
spirit.
Zelda. I'll be playing Zelda on the couch.
The goddess will be smiling upon us.
Yep.
Till next week, play some games. Specifically Zelda. Enjoy them. Good night.
Good night.
Go save Hyrule.